Hello, 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 my new friends. Welcome to Hustle and Heart, the podcast where ambition meets authenticity. I'm Sean, and each week we're going to dive into real conversations about business, life, resilience, and what it truly takes to build something meaningful without losing who you are. If you believe in working hard, leading with integrity, and building with purpose, you're in the right place. Let's get into this now. Because you can work hard every day, every single day, but without heart, without purpose, integrity, and belief, the hustle eventually burns you out. And that's why we're here. So let me tell you my story and the reason that I have created this podcast and why it matters to me. I know what it feels like to start from scratch. We've all done it. I know we all have done it. And some of us have done it multiple times. And the biggest thing is when we start from scratch, we start all over again. And that's never a fun time because who likes to start over again, right? I mean, it's not really a fun time, that's for sure. So I know what it feels like to question yourself. I've done it many times before. Um, Sometimes we question ourselves because we don't feel that we belong or it's not the right fit. And sometimes it's not. And that's okay. We can, go from there and see within, a certain amount of time if it's really meant for us or if it's not meant for us. So that's the key of starting something new or starting something from scratch. I know what it feels like to build something while juggling life, responsibilities, doubt, and expectations. There have been times where I was grinding nonstop, showing up, posting, selling, promoting, pushing, trying to make things move. We've all experienced that, I'm sure, right? If you're in direct sales or anything like that, we've all experienced that. We can relate to that. And let me just see here. Want to see what else I want to go over. And from the outside, it looks like hustle. But on the inside, there are moments of exhaustion, doubt, wondering if I was doing enough, or if I even was if I even had what it takes. And what I realize is this: hustle will build momentum, but heart builds legacy. Hustle gets you started, heart keeps you grounded. Hustle is action, heart is alignment. And when you combine the two, that's when things change. That's when you build something that's real. All right, and it doesn't matter if you are building from the ground up or if you're working for a direct sales company. We've all experienced this multiple times before, I'm sure. And if you're a small business owner that's just starting out as a company yourself, it's not always easy. It's something that you go through trials and tribulations and errors and all those things. That's all part of the process. And we've all heard this before. Trust the process, right? Well, there's nothing wrong with trusting the process as long as the process is formulated in a way that you can learn from. Because there's a lot of trainings out there that some of it is great information and it does help. And others, it's just a waste of our time. And why would we want to waste our precious time, right? We all have precious time and we can't afford to waste it if it's not relevant and good information that's going to help us. If we can relate to the information, if we can put that information in to perspective and aim for the stars, then it's worth the information. I mean, who wants to go to a 3 hour training and get absolutely nothing from it because the person does not have the correct information? We don't want to waste our time doing that. Our time is precious. A lot of us may be single parents. A lot of us may have a full time job plus we're hustling our small business. So that's the key. You know, not everyone's situation is different. And so we don't want to take and say, oh, I know what this person's going through. I know what that person's going through. Because most of the time we don't. Unless we've experienced the exact same thing, you can't or you shouldn't say, I know what that person's going through, because you don't. And that's why a lot of people get upset when they hear that from somebody, because you don't know what they're going through, but yet you say that you know. That's where that comes from. um, so, what does hustle and heart really mean? So, what does hustle heart actually stand for? Hustle means showing up even when you don't feel like it, doing the uncomfortable work, staying disciplined when motivation fades, taking ownership of your growth. That is super important. And we can't have growth if we don't meet new people. Some of us, I'm sure, do in person events. Some of us probably do online events. I know I do online events. I host online events. And I've been in the direct sales business for 19 years. And heart means staying true to your values, leading with integrity, remembering your why you started this small business, or why you joined this business to be a small business owner. Building something that actually matters, not just something that makes noise. Now, anything can make noise. You know, we don't want to put our heart and our hustle into something that is just a waste of time. So, if you're not in it to win it and progress and be ready to meet new people and be ready to put in the hard work that it's going to take to make sure that you do what you can to become successful, because it's not just when you go to an online event, you can't depend on the coordinator to promise you a sale, because no one can. You have to put in the work to make sure that you get a sale. You have to work your business. You have to hustle, as you would say. From during my podcast, you'll hear heart and hustle multiple times, because that is what this means to me, and that is why I named it Hustle and Heart. This podcast is not about fake motivation. It's not about pretending entrepreneurship is easy, because it is definitely not easy. I can tell you that. Like I said, in the 19 years that I've been doing direct selling, it is not easy. I've been in multiple companies. Um, my most recent company that I've been with for 5 years, in August of this year, I've been with them for almost 5 years. They've been the longest company I've been with total. Um, Not every business is meant for each of one of us. It's just not always, you know, we think it is, but then we find out that it's not. So that's okay. But the key is we have to know within a certain amount of time as if it's worth us putting the time, the work, the energy, all of it. You know, because like I mentioned, we all have busy lives. That's just the way it is. That's usual. That's normal. That's what they call normal. I don't think anything is normal. Specifically, that's my opinion, of course. Anything is normal, but that's me. We all have our own opinion on that. It's not about surface level advice. This is real talk about business, real talk about life, real talk about balancing ambition with authenticity. Okay, so when I talk ambition, I talk you have to be in it to win it, like I mentioned before. If you're not in it to win it, and you know you're not, and you've been in that small business for a month, and excuse me, you haven't even logged into your back office except for when you signed up, it wasn't something that your heart was set on. Our heart has to be in our business. Our heart has to be in it to make it work, to be ready to do the work that it's going to take to build that business so we can make money. because I don't know anybody that's in business for themselves or as a direct seller and they're just in it for nothing. We're in it to make the extra money that we can make. If it is your main income, you are in it to make your money to pay your bills, which makes perfect sense to me. Okay. All right. So during each podcast, you're going to hear different conversations about entrepreneurship and business owners, real stories, not highlights, reels, lessons from failures, and practical strategies you can apply, honest discussions about life behind the scenes. So when I say this, I mean I'm gonna have business owners. Either they own their own business or they are doing a direct selling business. I'm going to have one or the other every other week. So I'm going to interview them and I'm going to ask them questions and we can learn from each other that way. Because we can learn why they started their business, what's been successful for them. See, we all can help each other, we just have to know how. That's the important parts. We have to know how. We have to ask questions. Just like when you're talking to a customer, you have to probe and ask questions to be able to learn more about them, what they're looking for, what they need from you. Okay, that's the key. Some of us are not successful because we don't know exactly what to say. So, that's definitely something that can be very um, hard if you don't know what to say or what you don't know what to do next. So, that's super important. Um, let's be honest, building something meaningful isn't just about marketing plans and sales strategies. It's about mindset, it's about resilience, it's about faith in yourself when things feel slow. It's about staying committed when nobody's clapping for you. Okay, a lot of us, I'm sure, go through this as well. Sometimes we could have a significant other or a husband or a wife, and they're not in it like you're in it. Okay, family, same thing. We all need a support system. And if your family or your significant other, your husband or your wife are not part of that support system, that can hurt. That can definitely hurt. Um, and that's definitely not good. So if you meet similar minded business owners, that can definitely help, especially when you friend them, because they can be part of your support system. Because we all have a bad day. That's all there is to it. We all have to admit to that. We all have a bad day. And if you don't have a bad day, I want to meet you because, wow. That's just being honest and serious, okay? Everyone's going through something at some point in time. All right, so, and we're going to be talking all about this during each podcast. So, who this podcast is actually for: the entrepreneur building from home, a parent chasing a dream after bedtime, the person starting over, the person or the one who refuses to quit, the one who wants success without losing their values. We all have to think about our morals and our values. If anything that someone is telling you to do, you know is not part of your values or your morals, it's probably not for you. Now, that's just my opinion, but if it's not something that you can clearly relate to or work through, then it's not for you. If you believe in working hard but leading with heart, you belong here. All right, and so I'm going to give you a little tidbit, okay? So every other week, we're going to either have a business owner or we are going to have a person that is going to discuss life discussions. So that's what you're going to get from this podcast every single week. Our schedule will be Sundays at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So every single Sunday, if it's a holiday or not, there will be a podcast. And like I said, I'm going to have business owners. I'm going to have others that are going to talk about real life discussions. And because there's a lot going on in the world. And of course, um, there's going to be certain topics that are going to be off limits, which is pretty common for most podcasts. But overall, I'm super excited that you all are here, and I'm super excited um, for you to listen to not only this podcast, which is my first podcast, but every podcast after. Because if you feel that you're going to benefit from it, I mean, at the very longest, every podcast will be an hour long at most. Okay, maximum. Tonight's is shorter only because it is my first, and it is, there's no interview tonight. It's just myself letting you know what I have to offer, what we are going to be offering, so that way you can tell is as if it's something that you're definitely going to want to continue listening to. And I really do hope you do, because I am so excited for what is to come. So subscribe if you feel that this is something that you definitely want to hear once a week on Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Share this episode with someone who needs it. And if you're building something, message me. If you want to be part of the show, message me. I want to hear your story. This is just the beginning. This is Hustle and Heart, and we are building something real. All right, so let's wrap up today's episode by letting you know that because we're not just creating content here, we are building a community of people who believe in working hard without losing who they are. And I cannot wait for my next episode where I am going to be interviewing a business owner. So excited. And it will be our first interview of this podcast. And until next time, I want you to keep your hustle strong and your heart stronger. This is Hustle and Heart, where ambition meets authenticity.